were lots of new guys here, and you knew all of them, like.
The only guy that I did not see is Brock Dykeshorn. Yeah, I did not see him because he was in Fresno, which isn't too far from here, but I had covered Fresno, and then he got called up to AAA after I had covered him, and then I went back to see Fresno, and he didn't pitch. So I've never seen him pitch live.
But he was in your list too.
Dykeshorn?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, I spoke with his agent. So I've seen Jake throw since 2016. He pitched in Lehigh Valley, and he was up and down with the Phillies. And the Phillies were one of those teams in 2016 and 17 that had a lot of movement like the Padres had had. So I kept thinking that some of these guys were going to become available, not thinking that Jake was going to be that guy. He's got really good breaking stuff. He's got a good live fastball, and I was really kind of surprised that he became available, but I'm happy that we got the opportunity. So I've seen Jake throw a lot over the past 3 years, and last year I saw him throw twice, and I think probably total, I look back at my reports, I've seen him throw 6 times. That's a lot to see a guy throw. So I have a pretty deep history on having seen Jake throw, and I was surprised when he did become available. Just a little inside note, I didn't think he was going to become available, so at the end of the season I turned in a booklet of guys that are going to become available, and that booklet gets made before roster transactions happen. Brewers took him off the roster, and I was like, okay, so I had to add him in afterwards, and that was, like I said, I was surprised that he did become available. The only guy that was a little bit surprising to me was Joe Whelan, simply because he came from Japan, and I liked Joe a lot in 2016 when he went to Japan. He was a guy that we discussed. Kia has Brett Pill over here. I don't know if, I haven't talked to Brett about Joe, but he's just a little bit of a surprise for the fact that nobody that was scouting here in the States has seen him. So either somebody from Kia went to Japan and saw him, but he's kind of a name that had fallen off of the radar.
Because he's in Japan?
Because he's in Japan. But when I saw that he had signed with Kia, I was like, oh, I wonder how he's doing, because I liked him a lot in 2016, and he pitched pretty well with Yokohama the past 2 years. Yeah, you know, we've seen guys have good years and bad years and everything in between. And, you know, you've seen guys, if you have a talented player, sometimes it's worth keeping hold of him. I don't know his intangibles. Maybe he was really well liked and they thought he'd be good for the clubhouse. Maybe it's hard for me to comment on a guy that I haven't heard a lot about. I've only seen him pitch, and I know he's got a great arm. No, it's nothing about their ability. A lot of it has to do with the idea that a new face is a sexy face. And you know, and it's really hard when the league is as tight as it is, and it's really hard to make a lot of movement. I think we saw the biggest trade that I can remember seeing in the whole league this year when we saw the 3-way trade between Samsung, SK, and Nexon. It's hard for players to move. So a lot of teams believe that the way that they're going to make a major impact and change is by changing their foreign players. And I don't know if I always agree with that theory, but I think that has a lot to do with it, because even if you go past Hacker and Nippert, Samson led the league in strikeouts. Hale was really solid for Hanwha. You look at those 5 guys and you say, all 5 of those guys could be back.
Yeah.
But they're not. And like I said, it's the way you can make a big change. You know, the way you can make a change in the KBO. It's really hard. Like, let's say we wanted to add a shortstop. It'd be really hard for us to go out and acquire a big name shortstop. There's not the free agency like there is, you know, Manny Machado is not available in the KBO. So if we wanted to go out and acquire a shortstop, our best way to make that change would be through a foreign player. If we wanted to add a power hitter, it'd be really hard for us to go out and trade for Pak Byung-ho. So how are we going to add a power hitter? You know, and that's the reason why you see the changes at least that's what I think. I think that the change can come from the foreign player rather than
the domestic. Do you think that we could see Nippert or Hacker again?
Absolutely. you don't know. I mean, I could be any one of those 5 guys. And I mean, I'll even throw Andy's name in there. If you know that you're halfway through the season and you have an injury or you have a player that's not doing well, and you're just like, what we need a solid player. We need a guy that we know is going to show up every day and give us good innings and do all those other, you know, with Andy, he's going to play hard, he's going to be good in the clubhouse. With Nippert, it's going to be giving us good innings. Same thing with Hacker, Hale. If we need a guy that's going to get strikeouts, we can go to Samson. It's going to be those type of things that happen halfway through the season. That's why I said, whether it's Hacker or Nippert or Samson or Hale or Noesi, none of them would surprise me. Hong Sung-hun is a former teammate of mine, and he works at the lower levels. I don't
He's a
think,
rookie. Eh?
yeah, I think he's in rookie ball, so I don't think he ever ran across Carlos, but Carlos went to the same university as Miles Michaelis, the pitcher with the Cardinals, who pitched in Japan with the Tokyo Giants for a few years. And then he came back to the States after playing in Japan, and that was a big motivating factor for Carlos wanting to go to Asia, because Michaelis had so much success in Japan, and then he parlayed it back into a major league contract. So that was a big factor, because they went to the same university. So that was part of Carlos's background, and then he had also played with quite a few guys that had played in Korea before.